and everything else that we have coming up. So of course, today we're talking about a new farming platform that we've invested in for you guys. Super excited to share that with you and see everything that you can use within that platform and leverage. Next week, we're talking pricing strategy. I have some really good supplemental documents for you guys to share with you guys on pricing and to stand out in your listing presentations. And then of course, we have Debbie DeGroat back towards the end of the month on selling luxury. So that's going to be a really good one to include. Otherwise, we have Brian Fox on the call from Benutech. Did I say that correctly? Benutech?
You said it, yeah, so great.
Yeah, that's the company behind this platform that we've invested in. And just so you guys know, we are covering both Arizona and Nevada. And I wanted to make sure everyone got the correct URL. So if you're in Arizona, this is where you're going to go to access this platform, okay? azrockfarmtools.com. And if you're in the Nevada market, you are going to go to rocktoolbox.com, okay? So I just want to make sure everyone is clear in both markets which platform you're going to go to. But Brian, I'll hand it over to you. Thank you again for joining us today and kind of showing us all the amazing tools within this platform.
Outstanding. I'm going to start off with kind of just why data is so important in the beginning, if that's okay.
Of course.
And just as a side, I love Debbie DeGroat. I didn't know you guys worked with her. We've been working with her together for, I don't know, years and years.
Oh, nice.
She is absolutely fantastic. She's really, really good. So you've not tuned in for that little commercial, tune in for her. She's great. That's the first I've heard of it. You guys work with her, but again, she's awesome. So, cool. I'm going to share. Oops, I think you need to stop sharing yours so I can share mine, if you don't mind.
There we
go.
Yeah.
And let's go here. All right, you guys can see my screen now? Yes.
Yep.
Somebody give me a thumbs up. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Anyways, there's my name. Yeah, I've worked in, well, I've had a real estate broker's license going back about 20 years now. I've sold real estate, street level. I've done short sales. I've bought properties for cash and flipped them, at auction sales. I've done high-end sale, all sorts of stuff, right? Before starting a real estate data company. Prior to that, I had a real estate broker, a lender broker's license in 5 different states. So I understand that sort of data as well. Started a data company with a couple of partners of mine about 12 years ago in Southern California. We started in California, we're now nationwide. An application that we created for ROC Title happens to be the biggest and broadest used, real estate data platform now in the country. But before going into that, and again, we will cover kind of how to gain access to that tool and like what's in it and where you can find all the information. I think it's more important right now really to kind of start with the market that we're in, why real estate data and the data that we have within this ROC Title platform is so important, right? Because without that importance, I mean, where to find it doesn't really matter, right? So let's start there and kind of like why this is so important. I want to take it from, again, your level, from a realtor level, on how to use it and what to use it. So just some really quick background slides in the beginning, right? We know mortgage interest rates are rising like crazy. That we know that. And then actually, did I skip a screen there? Maybe I didn't. Did I miss a screen? I don't know. Oh, no, we didn't. I'm fine. Prices of homes, right, obviously at their peak that they've ever been in the United States. And so the combination of those two things, really interest rates being high and the prices of homes being high, existing home sales we know is doing this, right? It's crashing. It's going down. So let's investigate, kind of like more into what's happening. So this guy I love. You don't read his stuff on a monthly basis. You should. Doug Duncan, he's the chief economist for Fannie Mae. And so he's basically gone on in all sorts of articles. And once a month, they'll put some out, generally beginning of the month. This month is not out yet. But to talk about, and one of the things he's saying right now is we've lived in this real estate market for the past 10 years where people that wanted to sell would sell and people that had to sell would sell. And so you look at the two different markets, right? People that want to sell, like, I want a bigger house. I want a house, with a view. I want a bigger house or a smaller house, right? Those people, interest rates are great. Property values are moving up. It was a great time to buy or sell, right? Interest rates have gone up. We just looked at that. Pricing values are up, right? So now who's selling are only the people that have to sell, right? So big difference, right? People that wanted to sell were selling before. They're not. They're on the sidelines now. People that have to sell are the people that are selling today. And the people that have to sell, right, are very specific, right? They have reasons to sell. Things like they filed for divorce. Okay, so a couple files for divorce. Are they just going to like stay living in the same household for the next couple of years until property values drop or interest rates drop? Probably not, right? they're probably selling that home, right? And we've been able to staticize, you can see there on the screen how often they sell. This is prior to this market, but 22% of divorcing couples are going to sell over the next 12 months. Those are people that have to sell. People that are mortgage default, people that have an IRS or state tax lien. There's 2 people on title, one of them passes away. Affidavit of death recordings that we're talking about. You know, does that remaining spouse stay in the house? Sometimes, and many times they sell. And so again, when we're looking at like the market that we're in today, I think it's more important than ever, and not just my opinion, but Doug Duncan's as well, not regarding my products, but just in general. He's the one saying, man, people that want to sell aren't selling. It's the people that have to sell that are definitely selling now, right? And so we look at this, right, generally speaking, over the course of, you know, the past 10 years, people, the number of people that sold, like typical turnover rate is about 4%. So out of every 100 persons, 100 households, right, 4% of them are going to sell, which means 96% of them are not going to sell. So I live that life just like you guys, right? It's a tough way to make a living when 96 out of 100 are not going to sell, right? It'd be way easier if we could take those 100 homes and use information to narrow them down to the people that were more likely to sell, right? And how do we do that? And we're going to solve that problem today. But the higher the turnover rate, right, the more listing opportunities we can find. So a lot of real estate coaches, possibly Debbie included, I haven't listened to her in a bit, but most of them were going to go and say, look, find areas of high turnover rate, loosely defined as 7% turnover rate and higher. Why? Because it's double the listings, it's double the sellers, right? It's double the opportunity for you as a realtor. So when you look at like geographical areas, right, most geographical areas, you're going to map out like a subdivision here or a subdivision here, all are going to sell at 4%. Doesn't matter what subdivision you sell, it's going to be 4%. And this year, based upon people that want to sell aren't selling, right? Those people aren't selling, it may be as low as 3%, right? So to improve the averages, right, rather than just finding, you know, double the turnover rate like most of the sales coaches are going to tell you to do, what if we could find turnover rate where the homes are selling at a 20% rate or higher? Now, again, I can't find a geographical area that's going to do that, but I can find homes in Phoenix. I can find homes in Las Vegas that will sell at those rates. And I'm going to show you how to find those today. All right. So that's what we're talking about today. But I think it's important also to kind of talk about the math, right? So there is definitely information available out there. It's publicly available. It's all available on the ROC title site, right? We'll show you how to gain access to it. You can get it, gain access to it. But I think it's important first to really understand, again, how important this information is to you guys. So we've covered the background, but now let's look at some math. And I'm not a big math guy. I don't like math. But what I do love about it is it proves beyond a reasonable doubt, right, that this stuff really works, right? And I want to be able to prove that to you with math because I think it's important. All right. So let's say that it was it's your goal to just, and I'll use a modest thing, but I want to close 15 listings over the next 12 months, right? That's your goal as a real estate agent. We're going to do the math based upon that. If you want to close 30 listings, we're going to double the math, right? Pretty simple, pretty easy, right? So let's base it upon the national average of 4% turnover rates. The question that I would ask if I was a realtor is, if I'm marketing at a 4% turnover rate, meaning I'm not using information to find probable sellers, I'm just marketing into typical subdivisions, right? How many homes do I have to market to as a realtor in order to close 15 listings for a year? Now, this is the math that I used to do when I used to sell real estate, right? Like, how many people do I have to talk to in order to get this done? So here's math, right? Not opinion, but math. So at 1,000 homes at a 4% turnover rate, that's going to be 40 home sellers, 750 or whatever. So on the basic look here, it looks like I could market to 370 homes at a 4% turnover rate and I get 15 listings. But am I going to get a listing appointment at every one of those addresses? No, I'm not, right? Some of those people have other, family members that are realtors. They might be realtors themselves. So I'm not going to get a listing presentation at every one of those houses. Okay. So I use a random number. I said, okay, let's say that I got a listing presentation at 60% of the addresses that I met with. So 40 properties go up for sale. I get an opportunity at 60% of those addresses. That means I have 24 listing appointments is what I'm going to end up based upon that math. Does that make sense to everybody so far? Somebody give me a head nod. Yep. Should. Perfect. All right. So that means we can eliminate marketing to 500 homes. I can eliminate marketing to 370 homes over the course of a month because that's not going to give me enough appointments in order for me to get my listings. Does that make sense? There's just not enough homes to be able to do. So I know as a realtor now, I have to market to 750 homes or more in order to get enough appointments to be able to get my listings goal. But here's another question, right? Am I going to get a signed listing agreement at every one of those addresses? I didn't close 100% of the listing appointments that I went on. Hopefully you do. I didn't, right? So again, using math, right? If I close 60%, meaning I meet with 60% of the sellers, I get a listing appointment, signed at 60% of those appointments, you'll notice pretty quickly that I have to market to 1,000 homes a month in order, just based upon 4% turnover rate a year, 1,000 homes at a 60% appointment rate, a 60% close rate to get 15 closed listings over the course of a year. That's hard. In my opinion, that's hard, right? That's a lot of work. So, right, what I'm looking at doing is how do I get to those 15 listings easier, right? And so I looked at the variables. What are the key components of what we're doing? Well, the key components as a realtor is the number of homes that I'm marketing to. We just determined we had to market to 1,000 homes. The closing percentage, in other words, if I close 80% as opposed to 60%, I don't need to market to as many homes. All right, well, that's another one of my variables. And then I have turnover rate. Which one's the easiest and best path to increase your odds at getting listings? The easy answer is turnover rate. Here's why. Do I want to market to 2,000 homes a month to get 30 listings? No, I don't, right? Do I want to try to read sales book after sales book and just try to, practice every day? And I'm still not going to close 100%. I'm never going to get to 100%. I use 60% as a number, but I'm never going to get to 100%, I don't think, right? So the easiest way to improve my odds at getting 15 closed listings over the course of a year is to improve my turnover rate, right? Or the turnover rate that I'm marketing to. So here was us listing at a 4% turnover rate. This is us marketing to 1,000 homes in a subdivision at a 4% turnover rate. We talked about that. What if we increased it to 15%? In other words, can I find homes that are selling at a 15% turnover rate as opposed to 4%? And if I can, look how much easier my job becomes. The exact same number of homes with the same 60% appointment rate and the same 60% close rate. I don't have to be a better closer. I don't have to market to more homes. You'll notice pretty fast, right? At the same amount of work, if I can just find the right homes as opposed to the wrong homes, I can get almost four times the number of listings. And so at the end of the day, right, as a realtor, I got to be looking at that going, okay, where do I find the right homes? Who are the right homes, right? And we're going to be able to point that out to you guys today. So you'll notice, even if you want to market 1,000 homes, again, is a lot of people to market to over a course of a month, right? And when you're talking about every month marketing to people, I get it. But you can market to 370 homes at a 15% turnover rate at the same 60 and 60 closes. You got more listings than what you started out if you just market in random subdivisions. So again, what I want to leave you with, the easiest thing to improve your ability to get 15 listings or 30 or whatever listings you want to get over the course of the year is to improve the turnover rate of the people that you're talking to. All right. So that's the starting point. So, right, other things I looked at doing when I was selling real estate, right? I mean, trying to find homes with high turnover rate, right? The cold calling, door knocking, mailers, did they improve my turnover rate? They didn't. They didn't improve my turnover rate because I never knocked on a door and said, hey, I'm Brian, I'm selling real estate. And they said, oh, thank you for showing up. Now that you're here, yes, I am considering selling. No, they had the thought before I got there, right? Me knocking on their door, calling them on the phone didn't convince them to sell. I needed to find people with reasons to sell, right? And again, we've talked about in today's market, right? It's those people that have to sell, right? Those are the people that are going to sell in today's market. So recommendation really for you before we go on to this tool is don't market to everybody. That was so 1990s, right? Today, you can take information that's publicly available on the ROC title site and take whatever market it is. Scottsdale is a city, a zip code in wherever, Mesa, Arizona, a zip code in, Clark County, anywhere you want to be able to take listings and narrow them down to the people that make sense to market to, where their turnover rate will be 15% or higher by looking at those groups, right? So that's what we're going to recommend. We've been able to staticize how often people sell. We're going to talk about that. Yes, we've had, magazine articles written out of some Realtor magazine, in fact, talking about how our information works. But what's important right now, again, is more stats. So realtors, right, again, what we're going to allow you to do is take this ROC title site. Don't market in the subdivision, right? We talked about that. Grab a city or a zip code. In other words, or draw an area out on a map. You could start with your own address and then, let's say, take a 3-mile radius around your address. Look at about 15 or 16, maybe 20,000 homes to start with, right? We're going to start with that in the ROC title site. And then we're going to narrow it down to the 300 or 400 or however many homes you think you can market to on a monthly basis. We're going to narrow that large area down to this smaller area, smaller number of homes right? But smaller number of homes, right? That all have a 20% turnover rate or higher, so that you can be better with your postcards, better with your calls, and just, again, from the math that we just looked at, sell more homes. All right. So also information will put you in the right place at the right time, obviously, and it's been proven statistically. So let's go to this funnel. So my prediction this year is we're going to end about 3% turnover rate, right? Less homes are going to sell based upon what we're doing with interest rates, right? And the prices of homes. So what we've done is we've taken every time a couple own property and file for divorce, we would track their singular address for 12 months into the future, right? Because turnover rate's based upon 12 months. So if a divorce got filed, we track it for 12 months. We came back at the end of 12 months to figure out how many of those divorcing couples sold property. And you can see the answer on your screen. The actual answer is 22.7% of divorcing couples will sell in the first 12 months after filing for divorce. If a probate or affidavit of death recording happens at an address, 19.8% of those addresses result in selling property in the next 12 months. Mortgage defaults, 1 out of every 2 are going to sell, right? So again, we've proven, it's not my opinion, we've proven this is what's selling. Now, the other neat part about this information to really kind of settle in is when we're talking about turnover rate, that 3% or 4%, whatever ends up this year, all of these things are part of that 4%. In other words, in those subdivisions, when people sold, it's partially because of this. In today's market, it's probably mostly because of this, right? So it's way easier, rather than market to everybody in the subdivision, like we talked about, let's use information and narrow the properties down to the ones that make sense to go out and talk to, all right? We've proven in other ways as well. Every new listing going onto an MLS, right? We would look at the listings going onto the MLS in a month. We looked at those properties that went newly on the MLS 6 months prior to figure out, hey, did they file for divorce? Did they file for bankruptcy? Do they have an IRS or state tax lien? Anyways, you'll notice here's some math. 284 out of 1,252 in this 1 month, that's 24%. That's 1 out of every 4 listings going on to the MLS. This happens to be a San Diego MLS, but all MLSs are the same. But 1 in 4, right, listings, right, were from our information. I did another one up in Sacramento, California, a little bit later. This is right in the middle of the pandemic. There were no foreclosures because of forbearance. 20% of them came from our data, 1 in 5. So this is really what's listing. It's really what's selling. It's important, I think, for us to have that discussion first so that you understand how important this information is to you guys. All right. So anyways, again, I'm going to click through these really fast. Obviously, we know what looks easier, right? Same amount of effort, same number of homes, market the probable sellers, and you're going to do a heck of a lot better. So it is a choice of yours. Again, you can blindly call and knock on every door if you want. 96% of them are going to sell. Or be smarter. Find the homeowners that have a 15% turnover rate or higher. So not subdivisions, owners, individual properties with a 15% turnover rate or higher, like your divorce, like your probate, right? We're going to package them together, right? And once we do that, right, the neat part about it is not only are you talking to the right people at the right time, I can tell you from my experience going to those doors, I had a heck of a lot more confidence going to the doors, knowing that I'm there to help somebody, right? I know they have a divorce they're going through, or I know they have, you know, a mortgage default or an IRS lien. I'm not going there knocking on the door saying, hey, looks like you're in trouble with the IRS. Can I help you? No, that's not going to help, right? They're going to shut the door on me, right? Never talk about that information at the door. Just not going to help. But being at the door, and I'll use Debbie's script because this is hers, right? Of being at that door and being like, you know, hey, my name is Brian Fox. And say, hey, look, my office has buyers that want to buy a, be specific, 4-bedroom, 3-bath house, just like yours. Not a lot of inventory. If you want to know what your house is worth or what you'd walk away with, I could absolutely help you with that and hand a card. And maybe now's not the time, right? But if they're going through a divorce, an IRS lien, a bankruptcy, something like that, there's going to be a right time soon, and just keep coming back and being at that address, right? So I wouldn't talk about the life event of being in the right place at the right time, and the confidence knowing I'm not just knocking on a random door, I'm knocking on the right door, gives you a heck of a lot more confidence when you're going to that door. And then obviously you're going to save a bunch of time and money because the turnover rate's way higher, right, on the properties that you're talking to. All right. So anyways, I hope that was helpful. Again, everything that we just talked about right there is located within the ROC title site, right? It's all there. And so again, my company is Benutech. We're a real estate data company. Again, we've been in the space for 12 years. We build websites for title companies like ROC. We want to put you as a realtor in the right place at the right time. And we do that using sites like this. So you've noticed the ROC title site. You've already been given that by Justin on how to gain access to it. It is, again, a preferred access site, meaning he's got to give you access to it. You can't just, you can sign yourself up, but you have to be approved in order to get in there and use it. All right. But we call it toolbox because if you think about your toolbox in your garage, your house, all of your tools are in the same spot. We wanted to give everything that you want access to as a realtor in one spot. So we'll start in the middle by that life event. We looked at that funnel already. This is everything that we do in both states, right? So the ability to look at affidavits of death and bankruptcies and divorces, these all have a 15% or higher turnover rate. Again, take that city that you want to take listings in and narrow it down to the properties that make sense. From a pricing standpoint, super inexpensive. 5 cents on a mortgage default is all that it costs. 50 cents on just about everything else on that screen, except for it's the liens, right? The actual liens are 75 cents a record, right? So if you take a blended rate, let's say that you wanted 300 records, blended rate of about 35 cents, and you wanted 300 addresses to market to, you're looking at about $105, one-time purchase, no subscription, $105 to get access to 300 properties that have a 20% turnover rate or higher, which means out of those 300 homes, there's going to be 60 sales over the next 12 months, right? You just need to get 15 of them, right? We talked about using math just a little bit ago, getting a lot higher than that, right? But again, it's way easier doing it that way than marketing where only 4 out of 100 properties sell. So again, this information is available within that ROC title site. If you're in the lender field, right, we have all the mortgage and equity filters. You may, as a realtor, I only want to market to high-end homes. We do have an AVM filter in there where you can search by current market value above or below a certain number. So if you wanted a certain niche sort of property you're looking for, that's also available in the ROC site. Phones and emails, the best phones and email contact information you can get anywhere. It's not our information, so I'm not touting my own information there. We worked with a vendor. They're out of Washington State. They provide phones on properties at 5 cents a phone, 7 cents on an email. How much does a postcard cost? About 60 cents, right? The postcard only works one time, 5 cents on a phone. I can use that phone number as often as I want. These are really good. We compared them against every big named and not so big named, but all of the like kind of the phone and email companies out there. This company won out by far. We don't get any complaints. We sell $25,000 or roughly about phones and emails a month at 5 cents and 7 cents each. It's a lot, right? We just don't get complaints. So if you want phones and emails, you want 200 phone numbers next to your new listing to promote your listing, right? Good, grab them directly out of the ROC title site. They're there and available for you. Net sheet calculators, we do some really cool stuff. We'll talk about, like, again, like we're the only net sheet calculator bring in the current market value, and we'll also bring in the taxes and the loan, so you don't have to do any research. You can have net proceeds with one click. Property profiles are also available there within the ROC title site as well. Again, this is the information we talked about that really kind of just brings the rubber to the road, right? We're the only data company that does involuntary liens, those IRS and state tax liens, divorce filings. Interestingly enough, all the way to the right, I'm going to move your eyes over there. That's the only free lead on this page that you're seeing. It's not the only free lead in our site, but it's the only free lead on this slide that you're looking at right now. That right there, empty nesters, that's the biggest lead category going on to the MLS. So when we talked about 1,200 listings onto the MLS and 250 of them were from this information, the biggest number was from that on the right, which is empty nesters. And that comes free out of the ROC title site, right? It's complimentary because you do business with ROC title, right? But our criteria for that, 30 years of home ownership, 3 or more bedrooms. If you don't have an empty nester farm today, you should, because it is, again, the biggest lead category leading to MLS listings, right? New MLS listings. So again, grab them out of your site. They're available from within the site. So this is kind of what the site looks like. And we're going to go live in a second too, and I can answer questions and whatever. But I mean, really, the site looks like this. It's a map-based search, or you can choose a city or a zip code. You could search for properties any way you want. You can search by bedrooms, bathrooms, square footage, lot size, owner name. I mean, again, any way you can imagine searching for property, you can. We do these one-click sort of filters like empty nesters. We talked about that biggest lead category going onto the MLS. You don't have to remember what was that criteria. Just click on the empty nester button and it will take whatever area you've chosen. It will narrow it down to just the properties that meet that criteria. Same for things like next sellers. Same for things like, hey, I want divorces in Scottsdale, Arizona that have occurred in the past 12 months. Our website will give you the number of properties that meet that criteria, put the price tag on there for the math at 50 cents a record. And then if you want to buy them, buy them. If you don't. It again, doesn't matter to us. We're just providing you guys the opportunity to gain access to properties that are going to sell at a 20% turnover rate or higher moving forward. So important information for you there, right? But that listing search is in there. You can use that same territory for lender lead searches and the same for contact information. So any list that you're going to grab out of our site, you can add phones or emails or both if you want, right? So that you know that you're, have a less expensive way of reaching out and marketing to those people that you should be marketing to. Again, monthly. Don't do it just once and just see what happens, right? It's every single month. And I'll let Debbie coach you in 2 weeks because she's the best at that. But anyways, yeah, contact information again available from within the site. All right. Neat part about the site as well is once you choose your territory, right? And again, I would suggest that you start with 20,000 homes or more and narrow it down to the number of properties that you want to go out and market to. But once you choose your territory and your filters to narrow everything down, we're not going to give you an Excel spreadsheet or just give you an Excel spreadsheet of information because you've gotten one of these from your title companies in the past, right? You got an Excel spreadsheet. Does the Excel spreadsheet have maps? No. Does it have a link to a profile? No. Does it have a link to a Google Street View? No, you had to go to Google, type in the address, drag the little yellow man on the map. I mean, and the worst thing of all, the Excel spreadsheets don't update themselves. And so you got to ask for another spreadsheet a couple months later, right? We put everything within that ROC title site within one website. So once you choose your territory, choose your filters, this is how you're looking at the information on the screen. You can see where the properties are located at. You also have that kind of Excel spreadsheet view on the screen. But now what's neat about having it there is you can click this little gear and you can now get anything you want one property at a time. You don't have to leave the site and remember a different password and go someplace else for a net sheet. It's right here. Your property profiles are right here. You want to buy a phone on one property? It's right here, right? Anything you want is right there within the ROC title site. All right. The other neat part, because you chose your territory and chose your filters, and now you're looking at your records on the screen, right? We update the records for you now every single day moving forward. Complimentary. It happens, right? So you don't have to ask for an update on your Excel file 2 months from now. If you log into your ROC title site in 2 months, your whole list, everything in every one of your farms was updated yesterday. So every record's updated for you every single day. A huge convenience for you as well. All right. Lastly, on this screen, right, not only can you go in on a Saturday or Sunday if you want and create your own farms, if you need help with a farm or you want your title rep's experience, expertise to be able to help you out, call your title rep, right, and ask them to help you with the farm. They have the ability to discuss kind of, the things we've talked about today, right, divorce and probate or empty nesters, whatever it is you want. But let's say you wanted an empty nester farm. Your rep can create the farm in their account, click on that share feature, and then send that farm directly to you, Alexandra, or you, Linda, or you, Christine, right? Share directly into your account. You'll get an email that says it came from your rep, right? There's a button at the bottom. They click the button. It loads your browser. It loads the ROC title website. It logs you into your account. You don't even have to remember your password, which is neat. And you're now looking at the exact farm right there, right, that your rep helped create for you. All right. Or your customer service team helped create for you. So again, it's super cool. Anybody can use our site. So don't look at it and be like, I don't think I could use it. Anybody can use our website. All right. Once you do your research and you want to export it, of course, you can export the records out of the system if you want. So you can take them and send them off into, whatever it is that you want to be able to send them off to, send them into a print facility or, whatever else you want to be able to do it. Even Facebook exports. I mean, again, lots of different ways to be able to use that information in the site. And again, and then once you're working your list and working on the properties, that talking to homeowners and stuff, you don't have to go to Google and type in the address and drag the little yellow man. We have it from within our site, right? So there's your Google view, right? You could just like Google, pinch the map, pull on it and look at the neighbor's house across the street. But what Google does not have, Google doesn't have the loans on that property. We do. Click on that finance tab, all of the lending history on that property. Click on the sales tab, all of the ownership history on that property, into a trust, out of a trust, etc. It's all there. Even foreclosure information, one property at a time. So if you want a list of foreclosures, it's 5 cents a record. You got to pay for them. But if you just want to know, hey, on this property, right, is there a foreclosure? Click on the foreclosure tab. It'll tell you at no cost what, if that property is in foreclosure or not. All right. So a lot of information there as well. And then our net sheets, again, super cool. There's a lot of net sheet applications that are out there for you guys to look at, but we're the only ones that bring in all of the attributes you need to have a conversation with the seller. So in other words, I've been out in the field before we created this one, right? I was out in the field, 10 years ago, last time I sold real estate, but kind of walk out, I'd talk to the seller and they said like, well, okay, well, what's my house worth? And what would I walk away with? And now I'm standing on their porch fumbling going, oh, well, let me look up your property value. How many loans do you have? What are your property taxes? I looked like I knew nothing about being at their door, right? With ours, right, you can actually answer those questions. So Christine, if you ask me those questions, right, as a problem solver, I could say, look, Christine, according to computer models, your home is worth $650,000. I don't know if that's right. I'm going to look further into that for you to make sure that that's right. But that's what the computers feel your home is worth on today's market. What I do know for certain, Christine, though, is your property taxes are $6,248.22. You'll confirm it because that's exactly from the tax assessor. And I can see you only have one loan on your property, no second mortgages. Your original loan amount is $250,000. And once you confirm that, I can say, look, Christine, this is what you'd walk away with. I have that number for you already, right? So it's completely done for you. You can adjust, of course, any of the buckets that you want or the fields that you want, but we want to provide that information so that it's the easiest net sheet on the market to use today. Again, it comes from ROC Title. All right. And then your property profiles as well. If you want to pull those out, again, we have a great property profile. If you pull it, it's going to have your, contact information there in the beginning of it. We do some really cool things in the property profiles. That's in our site as well. And then all of this, guys, comes also with the mobile app. So what we've looked at today right now is really kind of where to start your farming. Start it on your computer. It's way easier with the big screen to be able to, figure out who you want to talk to and what lists you have. But once you save them in your site, they're also available on your mobile device as well. So you can download the Title Toolbox app, put in your email address. It'll recognize that you have an account with ROC Title. And then in doing that, it'll sync the two together. All of the farms that you created on your computer will be available on your phone. You can buy phone numbers. You can use that out in the field to go walk to your walking farms and all that kind of stuff out in the field. All right. So that was the end of the PowerPoint that I wanted to show you. Let me stop for a second. Any questions about what I covered, first of all? No? Everybody's good? Cool. Justin, anything I missed or anything I should have covered?
No, I think that's good there. Bree, did you have a question?
I do. I was typing. So when a agent purchases a farm list and everything's automatically updated, let's say that they purchase the phone number and the email address. When the new farm gets updated, do they have to rebuy the entire farm or just the ones that were updated within the farm?
So what we're updating on a daily basis is the assessor and recorder information. So all of the ownership information, new loans on the property, transfer history to the property, all that sort of stuff. We don't update the phones and emails. But if you bought a list of 100 records and 75 of them had phones, we're going to update those 100 records every single day, but we don't re-update the phones unless you go repurchase the phones. Does that answer your question?
Kind of, yeah. One of them, yeah. And then the second thing is, will it tell me exactly who are the people that I haven't purchased those emails and phone numbers from, where I can just highlight those or select those and then go purchase them, and instead of having to repurchase the entire list?
That answer is kind of. So in the screen, when you buy the list, right, you're looking at a list of properties, the phone number column is to the left of the owner's name and the email column is to the right of the owner's name. So you'll be able to see on the screen which ones you have phones and emails for. It's right there viewed on your screen. You can also export it out of the system, and again, they're in their own columns, so you can see what's there and what's not. We don't have an easy way, though, on that same list. Let's using that example, 100 records, 75 of them have phones. We don't have a real easy way for you to highlight the 25 that you don't have phones and rerun them. We don't, unfortunately. It's just, yeah, we don't have an easy way of doing that, no.
So what would you recommend if the list gets updated, we want the 25 to be reran? Would we just contact support?
Even then, there's no real way for us to do it. I mean, you could, if you wanted to, you could export that list into Excel, right? Highlight and remove out those 25 properties. You can then re-upload that into your site, into your own account as a farm, and then run it for phone numbers, and you can rerun it that way. There's just I've said there's not an easy way. There's a way to do it. There's just not an easy way to do it.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
And just to clarify, so you're purchasing the list one time, and for record reasons, ownership and things like that, that's updated lifelong as long as it's in there for no additional charge.
Yeah, we just don't. Yeah, we don't re-update the phones and emails unless
Yeah.
they were purchased again. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Cool. All right. So again, here's the site. How much longer do we got, Justin?
We got about another 20 minutes.
Cool. Awesome. All right, let's go into this real fast. Here's the site. We'll use the Arizona site for this, but anyways, again, you need to get an email address and a password to get registered with it. You can get into the site. Once you're into the site, it's going to look like this. Close that. It'll look like this. The map's going to associate to wherever you're at in the world, right? I'm in Southern California, so that's where it's locating me at. If you want to individually look up an address for anything at all, right? We use Google Maps to be able to do it. So if I wanted, like, again, property information on this address, I can select that address. Google's going to recognize it from their address information, and then I can look up anything I want one property at a time. So if you wanted to buy phones or emails or anything else, you can do that again, one property at a time right there. All right. So that's an easy way to be able to go about it. Let's go to farming, just because we're on limited time to a certain extent. But if we go up to the farming button here, different ways to farm. Now, if you already have a farm, this is important. If you already have a farm in Excel, I highly suggest you to go to your ROC title site, log in, click this upload button here, and upload that farm into your account. Because if those are the addresses that you want to market to, that Excel spreadsheet it gets old every day, it gets older and older, right? And the property owners change and information's wrong. Take that Excel spreadsheet, upload it into your ROC title site, right? Name it for whatever you want to name it. Once it's in our site, now we're going to update those records for you every day moving forward. And now if you want to buy phones on it or buy emails or figure out what leads are available within that farm, you can do it from our website. So again, if you already have an Excel spreadsheet farm, I would highly suggest you to put it into the ROC title site so that you can, better use that farm that you already have access to. But from a farming perspective, we'll start here with the boundary search. We'll say that we wanted to do something in Scottsdale, Arizona. So you'll notice I can put in a specific address, or I can kind of start typing in Scottsdale. Google's going to try to figure out where I'm going before I get there. So I'm going to say Scottsdale is where I want to go. And now that I'm up into that area, I can now kind of grab whatever I want. So let's say that I want to take listings in this area here. So by the way, I'm going to little pause for a second. You'll notice there's a blue line between those two green pins, right? That becomes a little more clear as we click again. So I've clicked once. I'm going to click twice. I'm going to click 3 times. And now I'm going to double click to close that polygon. So that chooses my territory for me. Now you'll notice everything else, we use color coding to kind of point you down the right track. Red means stop in the world we live in, and green means go, right? And then we have our neutral, which is clear pin. So if I don't want to search by polygon, I want to search by radius, I can clear search and I can choose something else. Clear pins means it's going to clear that area and I can choose a different area, right? Just click on the map and choose something different, but still as a boundary search. Green means go. That's going to take me to my next step. So I'm going to click on green means go. That'll take me here to my filter. So now I've chosen the territory, and green means go, red means stop. So I'm going to click on get count. The only thing that's pre-selected here is single family residences and condos. If you don't want condos, click that X, it removes condos. And now we're only going to be searching for single family residences. But I'm going to click on green means go right there in the bottom right, get count. And that's going to tell me how many properties are within that shape. You'll notice there, 4,276. That's a lot of people to market to. But again, if you're going to start somewhere, like to start narrowing properties down to who you should be marketing to, that would be a good place to go out and start. All right, so now you can filter properties by bedrooms, bathrooms, square footage. I'm going to give you a tip to match buyers now to sellers. So let's say in that polygon that I drew in Scottsdale, okay, you have a buyer that wants to buy a 4-bedroom or larger, 3-bathroom or larger house. Go into here and go, good, I want greater than or equal to 4 bedrooms, greater than or equal to 3 bathrooms. What lot size do they want? What square footage they want? Now we're going to narrow those 4,300 homes down to the 400, 500 homes that meet the criteria that your buyer wants to go out and buy. Does that make sense? And then from there, right now, you have the right home type for them. Now you could buy phones on those if you want and just randomly go after them. Hey, I got a buyer that wants to buy a house just like yours, not a lot of inventory. That's one way. Or further narrow down those 400 homes to life events, right? Of these 400, which ones have a divorce? Which ones are in mortgage default? Which ones are, whatever, right? Now you can actually better target those people. So that was kind of a little tip to match buyer to seller, especially when inventory is light, right, on the properties that you're looking at. So anyways, I'm going to stick here with this one. So I'm just going to go get count again, 4,300 homes. And then to be able to show you, I'm going to download and view these records and kind of show you a couple of more tips and tricks here within the site. So we still have this this boundary. This is 4,300 properties. And I talked about, like I said, this is everybody. We talked about like taking it and narrowing it down for a buyer. So once you've narrowed it down to the right beds and baths and whatever else, here's a really cool feature. Now, you could buy phones and emails on that entire list if you wanted to, right? All 4,300 properties or 400. But here's a neat button, right? New possible leads. So what this is going to do is it's going to look at these 4,300 properties, and it's going to tell me amongst them, do they have anything going on that could cause them to sell? And there's your answer on your left-hand side, right? 7 of them, there's an affidavit of death recording. 7 of them, IRS or state tax lien. 7 of them, mortgage default. 2 of them divorce, and 2 of them some sort of legal proceeding going against that property. If I want to build more, 1 bankruptcy filing. So if I want to now go out and market to them, rather than market to all 400 homes that meet my client's criteria, right? I can go in, spend a little bit of money, and now I'm just at the addresses that have a life event that could cause them to sell. That's even a better lead to match buyer to seller. Does that make sense? Right? Yeah, hopefully. So anyways, again, that's some of the things that we can do here from within the site. I wanted to be able to show that. Other things we can do on property, dynamic stats. If you ever wanted to know the turnover rate on a group of homes, right? Click on dynamic stats, and what it's going to look at in this case, that polygon that we drew out, 4,300 homes, it's going to give me the turnover rate. So let's say you're marketing in a certain area. This is going to tell you, is it a good area or bad area to go out and market to? So the turnover rate on that polygon is pretty high, 6.45%, right? Pretty high turnover rate that's there. Right? Average sales price, 745,000, 4,200 homes, 276 sales. But now let's look. It looks like sales were increasing until July of 2021. And now what's happening? It's going down. That turnover rate is dropping in a hurry, right? So that's what's happening in this polygon that we drew. Lending activity skyrocketed and completely crashed. No refinances at all over the past few months, right? So it's kind of a cool tool to be able to really identify like what areas you're marketing into, you know, what's happening with the sales rate of those areas. But we talked about the national average being 4%. This is higher than that 4%, but it's still not 15%. It's still not 20%, right? That's where your life events are so, you know, helpful for you guys and your guys' businesses. All right. So that was a polygon search and one way to be able to use it. I'm going to go back to farming now. I'm going to clear that search. So let's clear that. And let's go back to farming and let's do a radius search. So radius search, I'm going to go here to Summerlin in Vegas, and I will go up to there, right? And so this is another way to be able to use the tool. And I'll have conversations with realtors all the time where I'll be like, okay, how far are you willing to drive in any one direction to take a listing? And the answer I always get is like 20 miles, 50 miles, as far as I can go. Cool. It doesn't take that much, right? So here in Vegas, right? So I'm going to just say this is where my house is at, right? So I live here and I want to take listings around that address that I live in. I can stretch this out. There's 5.208 miles, right? Am I willing to drive any one direction 5 miles from my house to take a listing? Yes, right? It's not 20, it's just 5. All right. So from there, again, green means go, red means stop. And by the way, I did a click and hold on this outside. So that's how I make that bigger, smaller, click and hold, and then let go. And that's where I'm set. So anyways, from there, green means go. There's got to be at least 20,000 homes within that polygon. I'll get a count just for fun's sake to see what it is. Too big. All right, let's go back. I thought that might be too big. Let's make it a little bit smaller and go back. We'll see how many homes are there. But now we're going to narrow it down using life event. Like, again, I don't want to market to everybody. That's just too many people to market to, right? So this is what I would do, right? If I'm going to like try to get narrow down to the properties that make sense to go out and market to. There's questions. It looks like 82,000 properties in a 5-mile radius. Outstanding. All right. So let's go to Premier Data. So up into Premier Data, now I can do something like, okay, good. I want to know amongst those properties, bankruptcy filings that have occurred in the past 12 months where they have not yet sold property, right? And get a count. And now it's going to look at those homes to figure out who's in bankruptcy. I can then buy this information if I want to buy this information. I probably should have used a smaller radius to make it faster, but whatever. Too late now, right? 87, 67, my eyes are not that good. 67 properties that meet my criteria. So if I want to buy them, I buy them, save it, automatically saves it in my account. Now I go back up. And I say, good, now I want to know anybody who filed for divorce in the past 12 months to get that information. Again, all I'm doing is, again, I'm narrowing down 82,000 homes to the properties that make sense. 96 divorce filings. So we're already now at 200 records to go out and market to. Good, continuing right along. Affidavit of death recordings within the past 12 months. If the property sold, we remove the flag, right? So these are going to be all properties that currently are owned with these things going on. These are the homeowners I should spend my postcards and everything else. 237 of those. So Bob and Susie were on title. One of them passed away. The remaining owner owns the property. 20% of them are going to sell. Good. These are people I need to go talk to, right? They still own the property, right? People I need to talk to. So I just took, again, how long did it take us? Less than 5 minutes. And we just took 82,000 properties in the Vegas area, narrowed it down to 400 properties, all with a 20% turnover rate or higher. And I didn't even get into the biggest turnover rate, which is mortgage defaults, right? Which are pretty prevalent at this point in time. And I can go back and I can grab those if I want. But in doing that, again, I got to pay a little bit of money to grab them. But at the end of the day, if I spent $300, it's cheaper than postcards. And I can now go after these addresses for the next 12 months, right? Not one time like a postcard, right? At the wrong address. This is the right addresses at the right time. And I have them be able to market to over the next 12 months. Okay. It's another great way to do it. So I would have to pay now, click on that, put in my credit card, and I can go out and make that purchase, right? To be able to go grab those records. All right. So I wanted to show you guys that. I'm going to clear that search. And now I'm going to show you something else. So for people that just want to know, hey, in my city, where are homes selling the fastest, right? Statistics. That's the tool, turnover rate tool. So now I can go into area search. And now I can go in here. I'm going to go to Arizona. And I'm going to choose the county of Maricopa. And I'm going to choose the city of Mesa. Right? So this is where I want to take listings, and I have no idea. I'm in Mesa, and I have no idea what area of Mesa is selling the fastest. We group the city together lots of different ways. You can see them here. I'm going to recommend postal carrier route, which is the same grouping used for every door direct mail, right? So if you ever heard of EDDM marketing, that's the grouping that they use for that, the postal service. Census tracts, all the homes are in the same area as well. I like postal carrier routes. I'm going to use that one for today. But in doing that, what we're going to do is we take the entire city of Mesa, grouped together by its postal carrier routes. We figure out the turnover rate on every carrier route in Mesa, and then we rank them highest turnover rate to lowest turnover rate. Now, this is looking back 12 months where homes were selling like crazy, right? They're not selling as fast anymore, right? But we're going to look now, right? And we're going to get rid of these at the top. These are, anytime you see 77% turnover rate, that means it's a new housing community, like brand new, newly built homes. I wouldn't go with that. But in here, there are some homes, there are some tracks, there are some postal carrier routes that are selling really high over the last 12 months, 16%, 13%, 12%, right? But I guarantee on any one of these, when I look at them closer, right, they're not selling as fast today, right? And so we're going to be, that's again, we can start looking at that kind of that trend of like watching them starting to crash. And this is again why life events are so important. But if you want to know in your city where houses are selling the fastest, statistics is a great tool to be able to figure that out for you. All right. I'm going to pause there again for questions and see where we're at on time. We're getting there. Any questions for me on what I covered with the kind of demo on the site?
Brian, we had one from Lisa. If I have a list from 1 month and someone on that list sells their home, will that be updated some way on my list?
It is. So actually the neat part about what we do is once you save your farms in our site, so is you upload it into your site. When you upload it, it's automatically saved as a farm. So if you did take and upload it, you're there. Once you save a farm in our system, I told you, update the records every single day. Once per week, we send an email to you that notifies you of any changes within your farm. The changes we notify are full transfers of ownership, meaning Joe sold the property to Susie Q, or partial transfers. Joe Blow went into the Joe Blow Trust. Right, we'll notify you that as well, or new loans taken out on a property. So those basic changes, we will notify you. It's automatic. It's once a month. If something changes in your farm, you will get that email from your title rep that tells you about that event. So yep, it's automatic within the site.
Very cool. And then we actually had a question from a agent. Let's see. There we go. How do you make for death, property of the death? So do you have any scripts or any advice on what that conversation looks like if you're going there? Or
I'll
your
leave the
spirits.
sales. I will leave the sales training to my friend Debbie. But I use her. I use her information. I used it before, and I use it today. I would never talk about the event. Even you're not going to knock on the door, and it's not going to help in the conversation of, hey, you're not paying your mortgage. Can I help you? You filed for divorce. Can I help you? It's all public data. I'm entitled to it, but it's not going to help me at the door. And similarly, sorry for your loss. I didn't know the person who passed away. That's not going to help, right? Just be in the right place at the right time. It's, again, I'm going to use Debbie's script. It's being at that door saying, my office. If you personally don't have a buyer that meets the criteria, right? I can't lie. So I'm going to say my office has, because I'm sure your office does, right? My office has buyers that want to buy a house just like yours, a 2-bedroom, 2-bath house. Just not a lot of inventory. If you'd ever consider an offer or want to know what you'd walk away with, here's my card. I'm happy to help you, right? It's just being in the right place at the right time. And right now, that might not be the right place in the right time. Come back 2 weeks later, come back 2 weeks later, just keep coming back, right? Because eventually we know 20% are going to sell, right? So that's how I would approach it. I would not talk about the life event. It's not going to help.
Agreed. Christine asked, can you explain how to use the Facebook import export capabilities? And how does that work?
So basically it exports to Excel. The only way it will work is if you buy phones or emails or both. And we have a specific reason for that. Facebook has identified that if you're trying to identify a Facebook ID to be able to market to Facebook IDs, and this is a service you have to pay for on the Facebook business site. So Facebook has a site called Facebook Business. You can upload a list of people that you want to market to in that site. They charge a fee. It's not much, but they charge a fee to be able to do that. So we can put your client list in the exact format that goes into Facebook Business. So you don't have to try to map it and do all that kind of stuff. We put in the right format. But Facebook has said if you only have the name and an address, they will only find Facebook IDs on about 15% of people. But if you have a name, address, phone, and or email, it's about a 50% match. So you can get a lot higher match rate on the Facebook IDs if you have a phone or email. And that's why we only enable it if you get phones or emails. But yeah, you just hit export. It's again, once you have your list, it's a free export. It's in Excel. That's the right format to put it up into Facebook Business, and you're off to the races with them. So that's how it works.
Awesome. Thanks.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then Lisa, I think yes, more than one. She asked if can more than one agent purchase the same farm area. I would assume yes.
Yeah. We treat it just like regular real estate. There's no rules to how many people can market into Mesa or Gilbert or Chandler. Same with ours, right? I mean, people grab the same records. Most people grab different records. I mean, you all work different areas and that sort of stuff.
And I'd say just stay consistent, because most agents aren't consistent in their marketing, right? You can't just try it one time and say nothing came out of it and it didn't work. Consistency in this business is what wins. So
100%.
If you stay consistent, you're already ahead of everyone else that has that same farm list, if they even do. Good questions, guys.
Cool.
Anything else, Brian, that you want to share with us before we?
I don't think so. I mean, again, I think today it's this information that's in your guys' site is more needed than ever, right? I mean, it's just it's the market that we're in today, right? And we can just lick our wounds, or we can get super aggressive on how do we get out of this situation. And we can't do anything to change the market, but we can do a lot about who we're marketing to in this market. And the ROC Title site's got everything you guys need to be able to do that. So highly suggest you go in there and play with a little bit. Again, if you need help, the ROC Title staff are really good. They can help you out with all of it. And they can come to us and get help too. So there'll be plenty of support for you guys on it as well.
Absolutely. And just so everyone knows, please reach out to your ROC Title sales executive. They will be able to get you onto this platform and get you all situated. We've invested in this. We really want you guys to be able to stand out in your market, especially in this more normal market or as we've shifted. So this is a great time for you to be able to go in and target market and really prepare, last quarter of this year and next year. So Brian, thank you so much for all your information today. This was amazing. I know the agents are going to love it. So we really appreciate your time.
You're very welcome, man. I appreciate the time with all you guys. Good luck.
Thank you so much. And everyone, I will get this recording out to you all. And again, if you want to get up on this platform, please reach out to your ROC Title sales executive. If you do not know who that is, reach out to me and I will be more than happy to connect you with them. So thank you guys. I really appreciate you, and we will see you in the next training. Have an amazing rest of the week, everyone.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
Thanks.